The basic form of empathy is that I'm affected by the emotions that you show. You are distressed, it makes me distressed. You are happy and laughing, I will be laughing with you. That's a very basic emotional connection. It's called emotional empathy. And I think that is what we find in all the mammals. The more complex forms is where I try to understand your situation. I try to understand your life and imagine myself in your position, for example, or walk in your shoes. That is much more complex. And then the most complex forms, I think they may be uniquely human, is where we can even empathize with somebody who we don't see. We read about a person in a novel and we empathize with this person in the novel, which is a completely abstract sort of situation. And I don't think that kind of empathy occurs in other species. So there's many levels, and the very complex cognitive levels are maybe uniquely human.
I think that what we see in history is the capacity of humans to take this basic ability and then stretch it in all kinds of directions for either good or bad. You can use cultural means, again, like storytelling and mythology, to create empathy towards people you never met. And you just read about them and you still have very strong empathy towards them. And this is the basis for nationalism. You know, there is a lot of argument about nationalism. As a historian, I think that if you understand nationalism correctly, it is one of the best inventions of humankind ever, because at the basis of nationalism is not hatred of foreigners. Hating foreigners and minorities, this is not nationalism. Nationalism is about loving your compatriots and caring for them. And the amazing thing is that we are able to care for millions of strangers we never met. And, you know, I pay my taxes so that somebody on the other side of the country that I never met will get good healthcare or good education. I empathize with this person, which I've never met him or her. Mm-hmm. And this is really amazing and wonderful. The other side of the coin, of course, that you can use the same mechanisms of inventing all kinds of stories and spreading them to cause hatred and cruelty towards people you never met, or towards people that you don't know anything about them except for their skin color, or except for their religious belief or their sexual orientation, and you will immediately feel very negative emotions towards them just because of some story you believe. I've read in your new book that one of the things that really caught my attention is that among apes, for example, there is no discrimination against an ape just because of their fur color or because of their sexual preferences.
Yeah, that's both true, is that there are primates, like a certain kind of spider monkey that has many color variations from very dark to almost white. And people have never found that they discriminate on the basis of color. So that would not be typical, and sexual orientation for sure. No, I don't think they think in terms of categories in that regard. They think more in terms of individuals. This individual is like this, that individual is like that. And there's no intolerance there. But do you think, because you say nationalism has little to do with disparaging other groups, do you think nationalism could exist in humans if there were not some outside groups? I look at it as an in-group, out-group phenomenon, which we find in many animals. In humans, of course, it's on a much larger scale. The group is not just 100 individuals, it's like a million of multiple millions. And so there's anonymity in that area. But do you think humans could be nationalistic if there were not outside groups? Because I think those two things are linked.
Yeah, you need outside groups to have nationalism, but then at the basis, you don't need to have hatred and violence and war. You can have more positive attitudes as the basis. And you know, it can manifest itself in things like, again, the Olympics, that you need the other teams in order to feel great loyalty towards your own team.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that the main thing you do is go around beating the fans of the other team, or starting wars. No, I mean, you need several teams, but you can have consensus about the basic rules and how to organize everything. And the main expression of your nationalism is loving your team, not hating the others. And this manifests also, I think, in politics, that the good type of nationalism, you know, I mean, you look around the world today, you see leaders who claim they are great patriots. Why? Because they hate the foreigners or the minorities. But the same leaders don't pay their taxes. And for me, it's completely wrong. I mean, you want to prove your patriotism, pay your taxes honestly. This is far more important than hating some foreign group.